Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy, but we are here with author L.M. Halloran. So thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. You're one of Mandy's favorites, so she's probably
if anyone needs a quick refresher, make sure you've read Fall Before Flight.
Mm-hmm. That was your first one, wasn't it, Mandy?
It was, and then I became hooked.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So, okay. You have some questions?
I do. So we'll just jump right in. So what types of books do you write? Types of tropes, that sort of thing?
Okay, yeah. I write contemporary romance. You know, everything's kind of under that umbrella. I'm definitely a mood writer, so I skip a lot between different subgenres. I do forbidden, like Fall Before Flight and a few others, Rockstar, Small Town. Basically, I'm all over the map. Billionaire. So, yeah.
Yeah. And you have a few of your books out on audio. So is Fall Before Flight going to come out on audio anytime soon?
It will. It's in the docket. So I'm catching up. So I started producing a few more audiobooks this year. And I started with more recent releases. And then I'm going to slowly get back.
Go back. Perfect. That makes me excited. So, yes.
I know. It is so exciting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Say hello to my cat.
Hi.
I was on your website looking to see which books I still need to read of yours, and it looks like you also have some romantic suspense on there.
I do. Yeah, that was what I left out. I do have darker romance. I do have a few romantic suspense / BDSM. And then I have one just romantic suspense. And then I have a duet that's actually dark romance that not a lot of people know about. It kind of sits there, but it has some fans. It's pretty.
Which one is that?
You saw your face. You're like,
It's me. I'm the dark romance girl. So which ones are
those? It's the Illusions duet. So there's Art of Sin and Sin of Love.
Okay.
It's a little bit of like a little light boss employee. So not terribly forbidden or taboo, but he's like this hedonistic artist, this famous artist. She's his PR agent. But that's like, you know, it's hard to describe. That's only the tip of the iceberg.
You said dark. I was down for it.
It's pretty dark. But you know what? I didn't even know it was dark until I had some readers, because I had classified it as romantic suspense for years, and romantic suspense. But then as dark romance has become so popular, and then more people were reading it, they're like, this is pretty dark. So I had to go through and kind of readjust that.
I like that. Well, I wrote that one down.
Yeah.
So that's right up my alley.
Enjoy it.
So do you have a favorite book you've written or a favorite character?
Oh, that's so hard. I mean, I think ultimately it changes with every book I write. Like, because when I'm in that book, it's like, these are my favorite people. You know, I'm in their heads and I'm tearing them apart and rebuilding them. And so they become my favorites. So it's changed over time. Right now, Kieran from The Dark Before Light is still like my top favorite MC. He's so charming and smart and troubled and conflicted and Irish, and I just adore him.
And Irish.
Yes.
We like them when they're Irish.
I can't wait for the audiobook on that one. Oh my gosh.
Are you going to get an Irish voice actor to do it?
You know, he's not Irish, but I listened to so many auditions, and he actually just did my last book, Time for Us.
Okay.
Sean Masters is his name, and he does an amazing Irish accent. So I'm really excited.
I'm pretty sure I've read some stuff by him, or listened to some stuff by him. I should say listened. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Leo for me.
He's like top 5 for sure. And I love that you say that, because that's one of my earlier romances that I did single point of view in. So back in the day, you know, the dual POV wasn't as prevalent in contemporary romance. And when I was reading and then started writing romance, my brain didn't really click into the male POV. Yeah. And so I was just did, like, as you know, the epilogues from the male point of view. But Yeah, a lot of people complain about that. So I love that you love Leo. That means I did a good job bringing
Oh, I
him.
don't know why somebody would complain about
I
that.
don't
I
either.
love,
That doesn't
like,
bother
it
me.
adds like an element of mystery because
Yeah.
you don't know what he's thinking. And like,
Great.
he's like the therapist. He like shouldn't be having different thoughts, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no problem when it doesn't have the male POV. Like Mandy said, it adds an air of mystery to the books.
I might go back to that at some point. And I have been very much enjoying, I think that's why I loved Kieran Hayes so much, is because writing his mind and perspective was just like so fun. It was so fun. So that was, that's part of why I loved him so much, but we'll see.
Okay.
All right. So we've already talked a lot about your books, but where would you recommend somebody start if they're new to you?
If it wasn't for readers telling me the answer to that question, I wouldn't. I think because I jump in so many different, subgenres that it really just depends on what people are looking for or feeling at the moment. But like you, I would probably say Fall Before Flight is my best known book. It's a great place to get an idea of my pacing, my writing style, and my angst.
Yeah.
And then if you crave more angst, I would go for the Muse and Breaking Giants. Those are kind of dialed up in the angst department. So
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you read the Muse yet, Mandy?
I have.
Yeah.
I just talked about it in our 1 minute book reps.
Obviously, I was ignoring you. You did. I remember seeing that. Sorry, I obviously wasn't paying attention a half an hour ago.
It's a student professor. Remember, I couldn't think of what she was, and I got I was like, she's not a TA, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Yes, and I was trying to figure that out for you. What was it? What was she?
She's a grad student, and he's the head of her creative writing department. And she TAs for him in a class, and then she actually takes a class from him, and then he is responsible for her final projects. He's
she was the TA then?
In one class, yeah.
Okay, so then I spent all this time trying to think of a word that I didn't need. I already had it. Anyway,
it's okay. It's all good.
I was just on Threads this morning and read this, note from someone about how writers who have ADHD, like our worst nightmare is when people ask us what about a book, like a specific detail about a book. And I was just thinking, I was like trying to run through all my books before our conversation because, man, sometimes I'm like, I don't even remember their names, like much less what happened in chapter 12, So like, what's that guy's name? Oh, Beckett. Yeah. James. Yes. I remember their guts, but not their names.
I think for us too, like when we go to events and we meet authors, Maddie and I have talked about this. You get to an author and you love their book, right? But you get there and you're like, I don't remember anything about it, but it's my favorite. Yeah. Does it? Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. Yeah.
That happened to me. I was talking to an author and telling her how much I loved one of her books. And so she started talking about the next book and I was just staring at her like nothing was sticking. I had nothing to add. I'm just like, I loved it.
And I think
which book?
Yeah. Well,
when that happens next week, when I see you in Vegas with my stack of books, just know I really do love them.
I get it. I am in that same boat. Like, when I was thinking about like, what are some of my favorite books? I'm like, I don't remember their names. I don't know who wrote them. I know somewhere in my Kindle, they were great.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it happens. And Maddie would be like, how come you didn't rescue me? I didn't realize. I didn't know.
Well, can you share what you're currently working on or any upcoming projects that you have?
Yeah. So when I wrapped up Fall Before Flight and published that early this year, and then I decided that I was feeling the angst. So I'm going back into the world of Breaking Giants and Breaking Silence and writing a next generation duet. It was supposed to be one book because I'm a standalone queen. Like I only have, the only duet I have is the Illusions duet. Every series I have are all standalones with some interconnecting elements. I was supposed to be one book, but then, you know, I'm all of a sudden realizing as I'm writing, definitely two. And it is the highest level of angst I've ever written. I'm always a little nervous about people who, you know, if people are going to like it, especially because a part of my writing kind of person is that I need to be challenged and engaged. And so I need to do different things all the time. So like diehard readers of mine, it's like, I don't know if they're going to come with me in this direction, but I have to write this book. So that, you know, it probably won't be for everyone. Like Breaking Giants isn't for everyone. The angst is through the roof. It's emotionally probably one of the darker books I've written. You know, lots of trigger warnings, but I'm in love with it. I'm in love with it.
We're in love with angst, right, Mandy?
Yes.
Right? We love it. Like, break my heart, rip it out of my chest.
This one is, I've already sobbed a few times writing this, just like my heart is like hurting. I don't write young characters, like really ever. I don't, early 20s, never. Like my youngest, who knows? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure my youngest, a female main character, has been maybe 27, 28. The last book I wrote, they were in their early 30s. You know, I'm 43. It was a long time since I was like 20. So
same. We're at the same age.
And I don't often like to go back to that place mentally. But so in this first book, they're young. They're, you know, in their late teens to early 20s. And so this story is going to span about over a decade of their lives. So,
that already sounds, I'm like, oh no, that long. Oh,
so there is a time jump, you know, so it's like things are going to hit the roof in book one, you know, and then I'll bring it all together. And then by the end, it'll be,
yeah. Anytime there's a time jump.
Yeah, you're going to hate
the
that.
angst.
You're just going to be like, these, throw the Kindle at the wall. You know, people really didn't like Julian from Breaking Giants.
Really?
And it's his son.
Oh.
And he's 10 times worse. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Yeah.
Sold.
Sold. Done. Where's the card? Yeah.
Do you have an idea of when we might see this?
Great question. So I just actually put some deadlines on myself by scheduling my editor. So best guess spring. And I'm gonna wait to release book one until book two is in final stages and done, so that there won't be more than like
huge gap,
maybe 4 weeks, you know, just rapidly release those.
We appreciate that. That's
I don't like it when I finish a book and I'm like book two, and then I'm like, oh, you know,
I can wait a few weeks, but especially when you read like Mandy and I do, where it's like a book a day. After all, even if you love the book, you still forget big elements. Within a month, I can handle. But if we're going out further, then it's like, oh, crud. Because you read so much that
it's the challenge of writing series for authors. And it's sort of the reason why I don't write, you know, series like you see a lot out there, because with the ADD, you know, and the spice, I can't pump out these books. It's up to my muse if I'm going to write 200 words or 2,000 or not write for 2 weeks, you know? And so, I just know that it's a hard decision in general, which is why I like to write the one book. But I feel for authors, because there is a lot of pushback when the series, you're going to wait to finish the series until they start reading. Well, I've been on the other side of that. I have another pen name that I do fantasy and urban fantasy. And I stopped writing a series because there was no read through, and I get emails a lot. When is this series going to finish? When's book 3 coming? And I'm like, I don't know, like, get more people to read it. It's hard. It becomes, you know, it becomes a financial thing. And,
yes,
and
yeah.
everyone wants to talk about that, and I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, it's just the reality of publishing.
Definitely.
Well, I'm very excited. So how did you end up becoming a romance writer?
That's a great question. I grew up, my dad was a huge reader. He read science fiction and fantasy and horror, mostly science fiction and fantasy. And so I grew up reading those genres. I didn't start reading romance. It wasn't even on my radar until probably my late teens or early 20s. I really got into it in my mid 20s, where I was reading like a book a day sort of situation. And then, you know, as I'm sure you've heard it before, that one moment came where I couldn't find the book that I wanted to read. Like I was like, I couldn't define it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I couldn't find it. And so I decided to write it. And yeah, that was my debut, which please don't ever read it. Has a special place in my heart, and it shall not be named.
Okay.
And it just, you know.
You're not the first author that's told us that they've got a couple books out there where they're like, no, don't read it. Yeah. So, yeah.
It's just, you know, I'm proud of it. It's not a bad book. I don't think, you know, any of these books are really bad, but we're all very hard on ourselves. And then we grow so much. Our writing just changes, you know, so the choices that I made in that book, I would never make today. So it's definitely not where I tell people to start if they want to try one of my books.
We say the same thing about our videos. Don't go back and watch the first couple. Please don't go back. They're there. You can see them. Yeah. Don't go back and watch them.
Yeah. We're not going to delete it. It's, you know.
No. It's good for the algorithm, but we're not going to encourage you to watch it. So, yeah.
Relatable.
So how do you come up with your ideas?
I have a extremely overactive imagination. For some friends of mine, and I joke, it's maladaptive daydreaming is really our secret talent. You know, some of my book ideas while driving, you know, right as I'm falling asleep, and then I have to grab my phone and open the notes and be like, what if this? And I think it always starts with a what if question in my brain. I will forever be fascinated by the human mind, hence the two therapist-patient romances that I've written. You know, I'll just always be fascinated with relationships and interpersonal relationships. And so I always just kind of, what if this person meets this person, you know? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had your eyes closed there, and Mike. Oh, did she freeze on your end too?
She was maladaptive daydreaming right there.
There she was. Yeah, it was frozen. Where I was like, is it me or is it her? Because a lot of times it's me if something like that happens. But if we both saw it.
So did I freeze?
Yeah, your eyes were just closed. You were taking a nap.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I like long blinked or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Do I look fuzzy or anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, so next question. What do you like to do in your free time?
What free time?
Yes.
I read. When I'm not writing, I read just an obscene amount of books. I also, as I've mentioned, have ADHD. So there's always some random hobby. Like last month, you know, over in my living room over there's a pile of embroidery.
Yes, I can relate.
Yeah. So I've gone through many hobbies. Yeah. Doing dishes, you know, free time, laundry.
Yeah. I do that with the hobbies though, where I'm like, ooh, let's try this. And I'll do it for, you know, a few weeks at the most. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. What's next? So
yeah. For my birthday was in August, and my husband and daughter, that was when I just started, I can embroidery. This is fun, you know, it's calming. It's like, you know, therapy in some ways. And so of course, I got like a ton of embroidering kits for my birthday, and I like could have warned you.
What did I get last year for Christmas? Oh, I got, you know, those the book nooks, those things that you're supposed to build to put on your bookshelf. Yeah, I got one of those for Christmas last year because I was like, I have to have this for my bookshelf. It's so awesome. And it's like it almost looked like time travel. And one of my favorite books is a time travel romance. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. And it had like, it was like a train station. And I got the train together. And that's about it. And I was like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that anymore. So
I was super into puzzles at one point, and so I got like a giant, like 6,000 piece, amazing Lego set for Christmas one year. This was like 3 years ago. It's still in the garage. I think the little. I need like a smaller commitment.
You're like, just need the little people to put together first. So
yeah.
Well, I have I did cross stitching for a while when my kids were babies.
Yeah.
And there's a blanket I started when I was pregnant with my second, intending it to be hers. And then it went to my thirds when I hadn't finished it for the second. And now I'm like, someday I'll have grandbabies and I'll finish it then. So
eventually, yeah. It's just like the doom closet full of
it's like halfway finished. It's just it's waiting for me to figure it out.
It's, you know,
problem.
Spicy brains. Can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
Just embrace it.
I think at one point in time I was like, oh, Mandy's having a baby. I'll just give it to me. Mandy's kids didn't get it either. Yeah. So
jeez.
Sorry, boys.
But it's so great that we find the people that understand us. You know, the best friends that they understand. They don't judge us.
She might judge me silently and give me a hard time about it, but she's not going to say that loud.
A while ago, you were into making coasters, and you told me you were going to send me some, and I
know.
It was 2 years ago.
My coasters are my Ice Planet Barbarian coasters.
Oh, those are cool.
And I was going to send you some, and then my husband put away all my resin material after Christmas that year, and it means I have to go dig in the garage and find it, and I can't do that. Maybe for Christmas this year. Yeah, don't hold your breath, though. How about that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's always something.
Yeah.
So you said that you like to read. So who are some of your favorite authors or favorite books you've read?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
I'm in a reading group on Facebook, and they ask us every week when we have like a wish list Wednesday thing for Kindle books. And it's always, tell us one of your favorite authors, don't cold drop. And I'm like, tell us your favorite author. And I'm like, every week I'm like, did I do this one last week? Which I don't know which one to choose. What do I choose? So I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that trend on social media lately, the top 5 trends of people doing like their top 5 favorite books, favorite authors stuff. And, you know, authors are doing it too. And I was like, oh, that's so fun. And I was like, I could never do that.
Yeah, it's too hard.
I don't know. But I do have some all-time favorites. So my all-time favorite author, it's a man, strangely, is Guy Graville Kay. He's a Canadian fantasy writer, and he was one of the first writers who just sparked that unknowable, unnamed feeling inside of me, and just opened up my imagination. Some of the first romance I read was the Cushiels series by Jacqueline Carey, which is also it's fantasy, more magical realism, but those are probably the only authors that I have read every book they've ever written over and over again, where I just find something new every time. That being said, I mean, I love so many of my contemporary peers. I do still read a lot of fantasy. I read When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker.
Sarah Parker, yeah.
Yes. And I was just, it brought me back to being a kid reading these incredible books in my dad's study, but then there's adult situations. So it just like kind of merged those two loves of mine of romance and fantasy. And then last week, actually, I read, it was, The Brutes of Bristlebrook, I think. there's 2 books out of a 3-book series. The author's Rebecca Quinn.
Okay.
Quinn. God, I'm sorry. See,
no, it's okay.
It's so hard.
I know.
It's a post-apocalyptic. Why choose? I have no idea why I picked it up. I have no idea how it ended up on my Kindle, but I devoured in 2 days. I was like on to book 3. And then of course, you know, I'm like, now I'm just waiting. I'm like, I don't know when she's going to release it. Hopefully soon, but I just, oh, so good.
I'm trying to think if that's the one that I think it is, because I'm pretty sure I've read it. But I love post-apocalyptic. We have a couple post-apocalyptic videos.
And you need to see if you've read this one.
I think I have.
The way that she, the way that each of these men are, their character building, as they're so distinct, you know, and I just, yeah.
I have. I read the first one. I haven't read the second book yet, but I have read the first one.
Get on it.
Yeah. I love me some post-apocalyptic. I read one earlier this year that had it's Broken World series is what it is, and it was like 7 books long, and it was post-apocalyptic but with zombies. And it was, and they were all on audio, and that's all I did for days. Was that just one after the other after the other. It was so good.
Is there romance in it?
Oh yeah, that's all it is. Yeah.
Shoot me a DM. Tell me.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell you. I can't remember. Kate L. Mary is the author, but I'll send it to you. I
say okay. It's art. I've already forgotten her name, so
yeah, I know. I'll send it to you. I'll make myself a note here. So I have a lot of post-apocalyptic I love. So
give them to me.
I'll give them to you. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Those are some recent favorites, and then I'm always, you know. I love reading. So I think that's why it's hard as a writer and as a reader. It's like, even if the book isn't the best book I've ever read, I still love it. You know, I love that people can create these worlds that suck us in. And, you know, even if I have no memory of a goldfish, like I'm still like in it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very, very rare that I don't like a book that I read.
Okay.
I'm easy.
So will you be at any author signings?
Yes, I will see you ladies next week at Love in Vegas. And then I have, I think, 3 or 4 signings next year. It's a heavy year. I don't normally do this many signings, but 3 out of the 4 are local to me in the Pacific Northwest, which is amazing. I love seeing more signings out on the West Coast. I think there's one in May and June, and then I believe I will be at Love in Vegas next year as well. I have a link on my website for events that I update with signings for the year.
Yeah.
So
yeah. We like them on the West Coast too. It means it's not as expensive to fly there. So
yes.
Or some we can even drive there if they're in the Seattle area. So
2 of those. One is like Steamy Love and Steamy in Portland or something like that. Yeah. I keep telling Jessica we need to go to that but it's always right around the end of the school year, and Jessica's had kids graduating. And so we haven't been able to make it work, but I want to try to this year.
That one's fun because it was like 10 minutes from my house. In Vancouver this year. It was in downtown Portland last year. But yeah, it's such a fun, it's a smaller signing, I would say. Just great vibes. But I'll be in Seattle next year for Love in Seattle.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We have tickets, so we'll see you there too.
Yeah. I have another one graduating this year too. So we'll see what happens with that one. Yeah. So yeah. Next year I don't though. So I got a little break.
I might have to go solo then.
Come hang out with me.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. What is the best way for readers to connect with you?
Instagram DMs. I would say I'm most active on Instagram, primarily because I have like my author bestie group chats on there that we're always there, you know, going back and forth all day long. So I check Instagram the most. I mean, the best way to actually get to me is through email. It's just lm@lmhalloran.com.
Okay.
And I have a newsletter that I'm horrible at sending. But if you don't want to like talk to me, but you want to know what I'm doing, that's a good, I only send it out when something fun is happening, like a sale or I have a new release or audio or something like that. Yeah. So I'm on Facebook occasionally. But messaging on there, it always gets lost in requests. So
yeah, it's harder. Yeah.
I find like even my messenger for people that like I've already connected with, like friends, family, like it still gets lost on there. I don't know what it is, but
yeah, I've definitely had those, moments when I see like a message request from, someone that was like a year old that was a reader now thinks that I ignored them and hates my guts. So
I think most people understand that those messages can easily get lost and
or not be seen at all.
Take it personal.
Yeah. So email or Instagram.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap up?
This was so fun. You ladies rock. For such like an anxious, nervous person, it's you put me at ease, and I feel like we had a great conversation. Thank you.
It's just girlfriends having a conversation. It's great. I know we're excited to see you next week too. So
yes.
Are you going to dress up for the costume for the Halloween party?
That's what we're trying to figure out. My best friend, I call her my life wife, lives in Vegas. And so she'll be there. And I told her about the party. And I was like, I'll be in bed by like 8 o'clock. And she's like, we are going to this. Like, I have cat ears and a tail. So you maybe, if she can get a Red Bull in me. And, there was a time when I would have done that. But
I remember when we were in high school, I was still in bed at 9 p.m. Mandy didn't at that point. So
I was a night owl until I had a child. And now I am, Yeah,
exactly. So. It's the other way around. I know Mandy and I were trying to figure out what to wear. And I was like, why don't we just get like some black lace, like the masks, like the whatever, and wear like a black dress or something and call it good. So that's what we were talking about.
Might be in a unicorn onesie. Like, you never know.
You never know. I could just go in my pajamas and nobody would think anything of it.
It's doable.
Yeah. So, okay. All right.
I can't wait to see you guys next week.
I know. Same here. So
I just want to pack a costume, whatever I'm wearing, that doesn't take up much room because I have a lot of books.
It's important.
Yeah.
Books are important. They take up the majority. Like there's times I'll be like, I'll throw that outfit out. I got to get these books home. So, yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me just wrap that up and then we can chit chat. So, thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.